So we've all been waiting for more Dragon Age: The Veilguard footage, and Bioware just dropped a 22-minute gameplay feature with IGN as part of the IGN First series, which is going to be taking place throughout the entirety of the month of September, if I'm not mistaken. So we're going to be getting a ton of Dragon Age Veilguard previews and deep dives into skill systems and combat and gameplay overviews and everything else leading up to the launch of this. Now, we're going to be playing this. October 31st is the launch date. It's one of my most anticipated games of 2024. I'm looking forward to it. Pretty sure I'm going to be playing an Archer the first time through and then an Evoker the second time through. I've loved all the Dragon Age games. I love BioWare as a company. I don't think they ever went away. I don't think they ever diminished. I think they've just had ups and downs like every other company out there, and I'm extremely excited for Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Without any further ado, let's dive into this video and watch this. I believe it's a guided presentation, but however they choose to present it, I'm on board. I'm ready. I can't wait. Let's do it. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Daily streams at 11 a.m.
What's
here
up,
on Twitch,
everybody? I'm Cat Bailey, and this is our extended look at Dragon Age: The Veilguard's gameplay. I'm here with BioWare lead developers Corinne Bush and John Epler. Corinne, what are we looking at today?
Hey y'all, so today we're going to be helping out one of our companions, Davrin. This is part of his personal arc to rescue the Griffins long thought extinct.
So
we're going to take a quick journey through the Lighthouse, your base of operations. We're going to head into the Crossroads and make our way to the...
So this reminds me of Starfield already, just because they have the spinning things like we had in the Starfield home base. But this is the camp system, the home base. We're familiar with all this. I like the fact that they start us off with a companion mission, because these are traditionally side quests. But this character, I believe, is the one with the griffin pet.
Dark swamps of Hossberg Wetlands.
Which I think is going to be,
as Corinne mentioned, this is your base of operations that you inherited willingly or unwillingly from Solus. It is located in the Fade. It's where Solus was able to start planning his rebellion against the Elven gods millennia ago. Right now, you and your team have occupied it, started to build it, started to shape itself around your personality.
Oh, that's cool.
As Corinne mentioned, we are going to go talk to Davrin, who is located up above. And each of these spaces kind of shapes itself around your companions as they live there, basically spend their arcs in those rooms.
And we see here the glowing light above indicates Davrin's ready for us. Let's check in with him.
So each person's going to have their own customizable room.
I got a message. A place called the Cauldron was attacked.
That's some sort of Grey Warden tavern.
It's a secret Warden readout. No idea what goes on there.
Then why are you involved?
Because whatever attacked it sounds like the Gloomhowler.
So earlier in Davrin's arc, you were introduced to his nemesis, the Gloomhowler, a creature that's been hunting and stalking Wardens for quite some time. It's kidnapped a bunch of other Griffins. Davrin has been trying to track it down. Now he's got a lead, so we're going to go find this and go track this thing down.
Hell yeah.
Now, Davrin, he prefers the direct approach. We're going to choose a tough response and see if we can get his approval.
Then let's get rid of it.
Had the same thought. What's left of the Wardens are still licking their wounds. So we handle this alone. Just go to the Cauldron and get the Griffins back. You have to promise to behave, boy. Listen to every word I say, stay out of trouble, don't do anything dumb, and don't eat any...
I think we get the point.
Lancet and Remy told me there's a word for the bond.
I can't wait, man. I'm a sucker for animals.
Warden moving as one. Turlum. Until Hassan and I have that, I'm supposed to keep him safe.
I have to say that I find the Griffin adorable.
Yes,
and very importantly, I know this is a question on everyone's mind. Yes, you can pet Hassan.
Well, thank goodness for that. And
all right, what are we
going to be doing next?
He's up for this.
All right, we're going to finish getting this information from Davrin on the Gloomhowler, and we'll be off to Hossberg and the Crossroads.
Between Warden and Griffin starts by having faith in each other.
Maybe. I suppose you were born for this sort of fight, boy. All talons and temper.
And a sharp tongue to remind you of it.
As long as he backs it up.
So I assume that Hassan can be helpful during the gameplay?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, a lot of Davrin's abilities revolve around calling Hassan in the heat of battle. I in particularly love when you're going against enemies you see Asan swoop down, especially if it triggers a combo between your companions.
I can't wait. I definitely think I'm going to have him in my party
mentioned
for my
earlier,
first
one of the
playthrough.
interesting, fun things we've done is if you see the lights on in a room, companions have something to say. You can see Harding up in that space there, Nev behind you as well, and Belara. But we have a mission ahead of us. We're going to go find the Gloomhowler if we can, and we're going to go through the Crossroads in order to do that. And the Crossroads, if you've played previous Dragon Age games, Trespasser in particular, is a location in the Fade that contains a number of alluvians, allowing you to travel across Thedas in a matter of minutes. But at this point, the Crossroads are under assault by the other elven gods. It's a dangerous place, and we are going to be in for a bit of a fight.
And this alluvian, the Vera Voss, is the central focus point of the Lighthouse. This is going to take us to Solas's pocket area of the Crossroads.
This
and
person's voice
it might look
reminds
a
me
little
of
bit different
Terrence
from what
McKenna
you've
a
seen
little
in
bit.
Trespasser.
Can you tell us a little bit about the role that the Crossroads plays in the structure and the gameplay?
Yeah, so the Crossroads is, again, it's the area that you spend a lot of time traveling through as you go from area to area. It's also a space that has, at one point, served as Solas's main base of operations and training ground for his rebellion against the elven gods. So as you go through it, you're going to find fragments of the past, the things that Solas had done previously that are going to give you a bit of insight into Solas as a character, but also into the elven gods and their motivations.
Okay.
Some of my favorite content that you'll find if you go exploring in the Crossroads is these opportunities to actually relive some of the memories Solas had during his rebellion.
This looks awesome.
You actually get to take part in this ancient rebellion.
And here we have the Caretaker, a mysterious spirit that was actually here before Solas was and started to help Solas with his rebellion, but also to turn this into a safe haven for spirits. Again, as I mentioned before, the gods are assaulting the Crossroads, so it's no longer the safe haven
got
it
Nev
once
with them as a
was.
companion,
But you're going to work with this Caretaker through quite a large amount of ancillary content to rebuild this into that safe home for these creatures. That if anyone knows Solas, he has a tremendous amount of affection for spirits.
All right, now we're gonna get into combat here, and this time we're playing as a mage. Now, mage is one of my favorite classes to play. It's primarily a ranged attacker, and when we're surrounded by swarming darkspawn, I really have to use a variety of strategies to control the battlefield. I'm gonna use my heavy charged attacks to knock down these ghouls, get them out of the way, and of course, darkspawn are vulnerable to fire.
Well,
so
somebody needs
we made
to taunt
sure
that
to
thing
equip our
off of
fire
you.
staff, have our fire abilities on hand.
You may notice something about the Darkspawn too, is that they look a little bit different than they have previously. And part of that is because Gillenane, who has always been focused on using the Blight as essentially a crafting material, a way to alter life itself, has been enhancing and changing these Darkspawn as part of her
I like the
army.
bubble. That was cool.
Corinne, I noticed that you were doing a combo opportunity. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the role that plays in the actual combat?
Yes, so the combat system in this game, the deep strategy behind it is really to manage the various abilities your companions and Rook have in concert. So in this case, Harding has a combo opportunity with Shred. It's going to apply the Sundered effect and deal a high amount of stagger. Now you'll notice I can combo that with Rook's ability Spirit Bomb. That's going to cause a detonation combo.
So
very nice.
Again, one of the things you'll notice about the terrain here is it's very snowy, very mountainous. The Crossroads is a realm that reflects the waking world. In this case, it's an amalgamation of all the real world spaces that are tied to it. In the case, we've got Hossberg, we've got other mountainous regions. So it's kind of this mix of the swamp. And as you'll see, as we move towards these alluvians, the architecture around them very clearly reflects what's on the other side. We're not going to spoiler and tell you exactly what's on the other side, but you maybe make a few guesses based on what you're seeing.
Do I have to do the Crossroads, or can I just fast travel right through?
So it depends how you progress through the game. The first time you go to any of the new regions in the world, you'll traverse the Crossroads to get there. Subsequent times, we of course support fast travel, but it behooves you to actually go back and explore the Crossroads as some of the deepest secrets lie within.
So now you're in Hossberg Wetlands. It's
Now, it's
an
for the
area
people who
that
wanna
has
do
been
the
almost
completionist
completely
run.
consumed by the Blight. The Grey Wardens have set up an outpost here. Again, if you know anything about the Grey Wardens, they fight the Blight anywhere they see it. And they're noticing something strange is going on here. The Blight is not behaving as they expect it to and as it historically has. So they've set up shop in this place called Lavendel, and you are here to work with them, help them out, and help them find an answer to the questions about the Blight that they're asking.
Tell me a little bit more about this area. It looks a little bit like a hub where you can get a lot of quests and things like that.
That's right. So here we
Enchantment?
find one of the bases of the Grey Wardens. So you'll see they've really built up a small fighting force here to hold off the Darkspawn. What's more, the Grey Wardens are a faction we're going to be working with throughout the game. We've got Holden, one of the Grey Warden quartermasters. We're actually going to upgrade his shop and see what items he has in store for us, see if maybe it gives us an edge in combat.
And the Grey Wardens, much like the other factions, they understand the stakes of the gods being out. They want to help you, but you need to help them first. They have, again, as Corinne mentioned, they're holding off the Darkspawn here. They have other priorities, so getting them more powerful allows them to more meaningfully contribute to your fight against the Elven gods.
So where are we going next?
All right, so we're heading out of the Grey Warden Fortress into the small town of Lavendel. Now, this used to be a beautiful place full of life, flowers, and you can see what effect the Blight has had. But the residents are still here. They're trying to make the most of their lives, and you can see there's plenty of opportunities to help them. In fact, we're going to quickly check in with Finn the physician and see what he has in store for us.
So Flynn, again, one of the focuses of this game is characters, not causes.
I've been busy with patients, but I'm short on medical supplies. My mentor, Oscar, he should have some. He has a cabin outside the village. If you're out there, tell him you saw Flynn, and they could use his help.
And Flynn is a warden who you will do quests with. We wanted to make sure that the side content of Dragon Age: The Veilguard felt as meaningful and tied to the overall conflict of the game as anything else you do. We don't want you to just go off and do random tasks. Everything needs to feel meaningful, either contributing to your fight against the gods or contributing to the growth of your companions and the factions that you need at your side to stop the gods.
You look a bit worried.
We're not sure where some of our wardens are, Beckett and a few others. We're supposed to check in. We need to look out for each other more than ever. It's just, I know they took Weishaupt hard, and I hope they're okay.
All right, so we picked up a couple of quests in Lavendel, but we're here to help Davrin. So we're going to make our way through the perils of Hossberg and try to get to this Warden Fortress of the Cauldron.
Seeing a lot of kind of organic matter. I suppose that's the Blight.
Absolutely. So the Blight at this point, as mentioned before, the Wardens understand it's changed. It's become a lot more organic, a lot more alive. You're back in Dragon Age 2, Inquisition, Origins. The Blight, while it was a slow-moving wall, it didn't have this almost sentience, this almost thought behind it. And obviously we've talked about how the gods that are out are blighted. That probably has something to do with it, and it's made this area far more dangerous than it would have been before.
And you might notice as we get into combat with some of these Darkspawn that they do look a little bit different than before. And that's very intentional. Gillenane, the god of monsters, she uses Blight like a medium to sculpt and warp the Darkspawn to do her bidding, to suit her purposes.
So right now you'll see a couple of Hurlocks, one with some pretty disgusting growths on its back. Again, the idea that the Darkspawn and the Blight is an organic weapon. They're not just coming out and
that was cool.
Making swords, making armor. They're using the Blight to augment themselves so they can more effectively defeat you and also give the gods the world that they desire.
All right, now I'm actually going to switch to my Orb and Dagger on the mage. And those of you that were fans of the Knight Enchanter in Dragon Age Inquisition, you might feel right at home with this. This is a more melee-focused, more agile version of the mage.
Sort of like a battle mage.
One of the main mechanics here is you can use this elemental orb to apply stacks of elemental damage to the enemy. and then unleash them with your dagger to detonate them.
So, again, we're in, you'll notice that there are blight pools. The darkspawn aren't just coming out of nowhere. The blight is spawning them. Again, part of Gillinean's attempt to turn this into an army for the gods is to use these darkspawn, not just, again, whereas you have the Venatori and the Antam, one case representing magical power, in the other case representing physical strength, the darkspawn are representing overwhelming force.
Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand.
That was a pretty clutch heal a little earlier, by the way.
You know, we've talked at length before that our fans have asked us, where is the healing magic? Can you bring it back? And Nev in this game, happy to oblige with a kit of healing spells.
Nice. Well, I'm glad I've got her coming in as my companion then for the first playthrough.
So one of the interesting things that I love about our companions is each of them, their abilities, the way that they're built, they're very thematically appropriate to the character. They're very focused on making sure that the gameplay and the narrative are as closely aligned as possible. In the case of Nev versus Blar versus Amrik, our mages, each of them has a healing ability that is thematically appropriate to them. It makes sense when you know them as a character.
Watching you play, I'm struck by sort of the size and the scope of this particular area. It seems like there's a lot of exploration that I can be doing right here.
That was really one of our goals with these areas. Of course, we are a mission-based game, but we really emphasize player autonomy. You can revisit these spaces. They're full of secrets, puzzles, some pretty incredible bosses and treasure. And of course, as we saw earlier in Lavendel, some really narratively rich side quests.
One thing that's interesting is you'll find we're going on a quest for Davrin, but Davrin is not currently in our party. That's because Davrin has gone ahead of us and is waiting for us at the Cauldron. This is, again, we want the followers, the companions, to feel like they have autonomy, and while they won't complete the quest on their own, they will go ahead and get things ready. So when you get there, you can have you talk to them, you have a conversation with them, and it feels like they are as invested in the success of their journey, their stories, as you are.
This looks like a pretty contiguous zone, is that right?
It is, yes. So it's full of branching paths, different areas to explore. And what I love is the more content you do in the area, the more shortcuts you're going to discover.
That's typical of most
You're really
going to
have a lot more flexibility in how you navigate between your remaining missions and quests.
Well, I think something really interesting, too, about the way that our team has built these spaces is there's the idea of each space has its own story to tell. And while those quests, you know, we talked earlier about those quests and side quests being narratively relevant, they also contribute to a more of a meta story about the space itself. So in the case of Hossberg, we talked about how this is an area surrounded by blight, and you're kind of getting to the center of what exactly is going on in Hossberg and Lavendel, and these quests that you do and the content Corinne is currently engaged in helps to tell that story.
All right, we can see our companions are up here attacking this dark spawn on their own. Let's give them a quick hand.
Yeet.
All right, and I love positional gameplay, making use of the environment to your advantage.
Love it.
And I just saw that you could do a takedown move, so it's kind of a finishing move.
You can. Now, in this particular build, I'm really focused on using necromantic energies to siphon life force. But if I, for instance, wanted to go the stagger route, I could go a full takedown build if I like. It's a really powerful, heavy-hitting style of gameplay.
It's just a different type of gameplay, too. Different style of speccing your character.
So you'll notice Davrin is waiting for us. So let's go see what he has to say. The sun flies in.
Yeah, a bad day at the Cauldron.
What could do that?
What have they been hiding inside?
So something tore through the gate. That's probably not great. Looks like we should probably get moving.
We won't find out standing around here.
Be ready for anything.
So now he's a part of our
So because we don't have
party.
Davin in our party, he's going to move ahead and wait for us while we
Never
bring
mind.
Nev and Harding along to clear a path for ourselves to find Davin and get to where he is.
Can you talk a little bit about how Nev and Harding sort of synergize during the combat?
Yeah, so Nev and Harding, Nev is a mage, Harding is a
Archer.
rogue, and each of the classes, and you can build a party entirely of one class if you want, but the idea is that the classes synergize and they can set up and detonate each other's abilities in a very interesting way. Now, because you have a lot of freedom in how you build your character, you can, again, as said, you can have all rogue party, all mage party, all warrior party, it still works. But in this case, Nev and Harding are very effective at setting up and detonating, in this case, as Corinne's going to show.
So we're in danger here, and this is really what I love about the tactical layer of combat. If you get in that clutch situation where you've got this devastating incoming attack, great time to pause gameplay, weigh your options, and in this case, I'm going to go back to our combo here and see if I can just quickly get out of the way. All right. You can see I've applied siphoning to these enemies, so I'm actually going to be leeching their health when I use my mage beam.
Man, the mage looks pretty cool. I mean, I love the VFX.
Now you'll notice there's blight boils throughout the area, and that's part of our philosophy on the combat encounters.
God, am I going to want to play like a
destroy
druid
these
type build
blight
the first time
boils,
through? I don't
ghouls
know.
are going to continue
I've had
to
fun
emerge.
with druid builds
So
the last
I'm really
couple of games I've
focused
played,
on
but I usually play
what
archers
targets
the
do I
first time
take down
through.
first. This enemy is a little bit weaker. I think I'm going to have my companions focus on them while I deal with this grenadier that's given me some problem.
Yeah, I will say, and that's I'm not on the stick. Corinne is much better at this game than I am, and this
You say that?
Well, most of the time, yes, 100%. But each enemy, again, really leaning into the organic. What I love about the Grenadiers is they basically rip off pieces of themselves and throw them at you, which explode as blight. And again,
That's
really
pretty
leaning to
cool.
the idea that the blight is organic and disgusting.
One thing that I'm noticing is that the combat encounters can get pretty intense. You end up fighting a lot of different enemies. You can absolutely die if you're not careful.
Right, which is why a lot of people like myself, I
and
usually
this,
play on
as
story
we
mode
mentioned
the first time
earlier,
through.
this is well into the game, so combat counters have really ramped up, and it really shows the importance of positioning, using your companions wisely, and looking for those synergies and combos.
Yeah, the combo looks really, really mean.
Now, this is interesting. We just went down. We've built our companions to be able to come to our aid. So we're actually going to use a revive here. And Nev to the rescue.
And as Corinne mentioned, this is later in the game, and Hossberg itself is what I would consider a later game area, and the encounters are a little bit more challenging. It's a more dangerous space. This shows up in the encounter, but it also shows up in the visuals, the storytelling here. This is a place that you don't want to be. You don't want to be in Hossberg. It is full of darkspawn, full of blight, and generally not a pleasant place to be.
Well, we'll be able to explore more of the Cauldron when Dragon Age: The Veilguard comes out on October 31st. In the meantime, we are going to be continuing on with our IGN First coverage of Dragon Age for the rest of September.
Cool.
And for everything that's great about games and RPGs, keep it locked on IGN.
Well, I will, of course, be following along with the IGN First series, like many other people will be doing, and we'll be covering everything there is to know about Dragon Age: The Veilguard as we get deeper into the game, and all of the promotional material around it as we get closer to the launch. I'm extremely excited for Dragon Age: The Veilguard. It is, like I said, one of my 2024 releases, most anticipated releases, I should say. I got to nail down my starting class. I'm pretty sure it's going to be an archer, but man, I like the way the mages are looking from this gameplay footage. Love to hear your guys' thoughts. What are you planning on playing your first time through Dragon Age: The Veilguard? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget, daily streams between here and Twitch every single day, usually around 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Central Time, but we also do afternoon streams as well. And I play a lot of different games because it's a variety channel, so we'll see you in the next one. Till then, stay safe. Happy gaming.